Hello, fellow Americans. This is Mr. Steffler coming to you from room 111 to making another video to get us ready for our Chapter 11 test about the emerging politics in the United States at the beginning of the Republic. So let's just start out talking about what the cabinet is. The first question's about the cabinet. What is it? It's a collection of department heads. You have the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of War. And Washington chose very capable people to fill those jobs because he needed people to, the best people to help him. And I'd say the most controversial of these people was Jefferson. Jefferson was very different than both Hamilton and Adams. Jefferson also kind of saw things a little bit differently. Like he didn't want them to use force in the Whiskey Rebellion. He hated the concentrated power. And Hamilton, his adversary, was very much for concentrated power because he believed people needed to be controlled. So this was a major aspect of the chapter, but let's just move on. Washington did use force against the Whiskey Rebellion because he wanted to prove that the government had authority and that the Whiskey Rebellion, the Whiskey Boys were a threat to that authority. In his farewell address, though, Washington, was like, hey, we can't get involved in foreign alliances, and we can't get involved in political parties. Political parties will tear us apart. And so this has been mentioned a lot of times. The Federalists and the Republicans, they differed on how powerful and strong the government should be, like how much they should be able to tax, how much power they should have. Should they have an army? Should they have a bank? Should they have these things that are very powerful institutions? Because anytime you have a powerful institution, you're going to have people who may be corrupt get in charge of that powerful institution, and you got trouble. The Republicans thought that the best form of government was the one that was led by the rich and the well-born. I mean, that's basically how it still is today. The rich and well-born and the well-educated are the ones who run the country. There was the thing with Citizen Genet in our chapter, and it kind of made the Federalists scared of immigrants, and we talked about how Citizen Genet was riling people up, and basically the Republicans, kind of supported Citizen Genet because the Republicans liked France, and the Federalists passed the Alien and Sedition Acts, which the Republicans saw as a free speech issue. Like, you can't tell me I can't say that, and the Federalists are like, we just did. And the Republicans are like, well, you're going to lose an election. And that's what happened in the election of 1800 is it showed the country that the Federalists were in charge. Now the Republicans are going to be in charge, and we have to transfer that power peacefully. Like, that's just the way that it is. So the only other thing that I wanted to talk about was states' rights, and the states thought that because of the Alien and Sedition Acts, they would be allowed to nullify federal laws, and the word nullify means to ignore. So imagine if Michigan didn't like one of the laws that they passed in Washington, D.C. Under the states' rights theory, people in Michigan wouldn't have to obey it. And you can say what you want. Some people are for that. Some people are against it. That's your own political persuasion. I'm just telling you what it is. So we are going to have a few questions like true and false about the Republicans and the Federalists. And it's a 15-question test. And God bless you, and God bless America.